What's up everyone? In this episode of Motive Garage, we have a bunch of small changes and upgrades to our R32 GTR to get it ready to race. Long-time viewers will know that our R32 GTR is being constantly developed and always evolving to remain the perfect all-round GTR as the power level goes up. Now in 2026, we're going to race and drive the car a lot more. It's going to head over to Western Australia for the Outpace Motor Show. Going to be racing against hypercars and hopefully against Mad Mike in the Mad Mac. We're then going to send it over to the UK and Europe to do a bunch of events before it races, and is on display at the Parts Plug GTR Festival UK. In this episode, we're going to be doing a lot of little things to our GTR to make it that much better to both drive and race and get it ready for the street, the track and the runways. Let's go. The ultimate all-round GTR needs the ultimate all-round tyre, something that can do it all. It's got to work on the street, wet, dry, hot, cold. It's got to work on a non-prepped or a prepped surface for drag or roll racing, and it needs to survive laps of the circuit as well. I've had great experience with the Yokohama Advan 8008, and thanks to Yokohama Australia and Contact Patch Solutions, we have the Yokohama Advan Neova 8009 tyre to put onto JETRH9 to continue it as the perfect all-round GTR. And even better, we get one of the best JDM brands onto the car. Let's go. The next upgrade to our R32 GTR is this, a Haltech UC10 dash. Now we've been running the IC7 dash for quite a while. I love that thing, but like most people, I want the latest, greatest and shiniest thing. Now, the UC10, as the name suggests, is a 10-inch digital dash. There's no buttons on the side on this one, so the screen can take up more real estate. It can fit 2 full-size gauges plus extra information, but what everyone loves about this is the custom skins that you can put onto this dash. If you want it to look like OEM, no problem. You want it to look like a Lamborghini or modern supercar, no problem. Or if you want to make it look like a fighter jet cockpit, well, that's a little bit of us. And thankfully, Tim from Digital Dash Works in Perth has made us a dash skin just to suit JETRH9. He's developed plenty of others as well, or he can make you something original. Now, installing a digital dash in your car used to require a lot of custom brackets and all sorts of work, but now it's really simple. Companies like Jap Essentials make these 3D printed cluster inserts so that you can just get the dash, slide it in, put the bolts on the back, plug it in, and then this will sit where the factory cluster used to be. Very neat, very tidy, looks awesome. The UC10 uses the same plug as the IC7, so this pretty much is plug and play from our old dash with CAN bus integration into the Haltech, as well as a bunch of other ECUs that it will actually work directly with no problem. But we're going to program it to get our custom skins in and get it working exactly how we want. Let's go. Now, one thing with a modified performance car where it's very difficult to have your cake and eat it, especially in a big horsepower four-wheel drive car, is the clutch. Quite simply, the more you ask of the clutch to handle torque-wise from the engine compared to the amount of grip that it has on the racetrack where the tyre meets the ground, the harsher that clutch is going to be to drive. That is a bit of a generalization, but that is just the pure fact of it. We'll use our 32 GTR as an example. The very first time we put a direct clutch in this car over 10 years ago, that clutch was set up for sort of 600-700 horsepower, and it drove like magic. It was great on the street, handle everything we threw at it. You could race no prep, could race on the drag strip with a street tire and have some fun in the car. And I raved about how good it was to drive. Now, when we upgraded to over 1,000 horsepower with the 3.2, we had a different spec clutch that we had, a 9-inch direct clutch twin plate designed for that sort of horsepower. But the cerametallic compound used in the twin plate meant that if we tried to get super aggressive with it and we run multiple 8-second passes back to back on the drag strip with a drag radial, it would just overheat. That's just the physics of the material and what we're trying to do. And when they overheat, they tend to warp, the adjustment changes, and they just generally can't handle like some hardcore racing. That clutch had no problem doing no prep and street and roll race and everything else. It was just when you got serious about drag racing. Now, when we sent the car to the US, we knew we were going to be racing on a sticky track at GTR Festival and TX2K, so we put in a sintered iron twin plate clutch. Now, the sintered iron material is the type of stuff that you use in a slipper clutch in a drag car. It's designed to go drag racing. But the flip side of that material is it's very grabby and very inconsistent. It actually makes the car, I'll be honest, not very pleasant to drive on the street. But that's just the nature of racing. We wanted to go multiple 8-second passes and we had to do that. But that clutch really should have a slipper valve on it. Can't really drive off the foot as well as you can on some other clutches. So with the car now going over to Perth, then to Europe and the UK, and we know we're going to be street driving it, we know we're going to be doing no prep stuff on runways, roll racing and trying to enjoy the car more, I want to go back to a cerametallic style compound direct clutch. And that's what the guys have sent me, and that is a 9-inch twin plate designed for the torque and power of this car, but still have a little bit of user friendliness in it so we can enjoy the car more and drive it on the street more. So let's get the latest direct clutch services twin plate into the car and get ready to get back on the street and the track. If you remember back to high school or trade school, you'll know that as you make more power, you generally have a byproduct of more heat. Now, when it comes to building a performance street car or a race car, heat management is very important and often neglected or not done correctly. Now, we're not talking about heat management as in cooling. That is oil temperature, water temperature, intake air temperature. On that car, it is amazing. We have a headlight duct to feed cool air, vented bonnet to help hot air out. We have a 70mm radiator, 50-row oil cooler, twin thermo fans. Temperature control over coolant is fantastic. We're talking more the heat made by the engine, which radiate outs, can affect paintwork. It can cause heat soak on other areas of the car. And in our case, it's getting hot air into the cabin through holes in the firewall that need to be protected correctly. Now, that's what we're going to try and fix right now. But before we talk about how we're going to do it, what I am going to do is, because it's YouTube, is show you that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. We're going to tell you the things that we're not doing and why, because we know you're going to jump in the comments and say you should have done this. So firstly, what's popular right now is the custom heat shielding around exhaust, dump pipes and rear housings. Looks great, works great, very expensive, but we often change things on our car. So we can't have something that's fixed for only one thing. So that's why we're not using that. Secondly is coatings. You can get like a jet coating, HPC coatings, etc. They're great, we've used them before. However, we're constantly changing rear housings and dump pipes and things, and we've got some testing coming up, so we can't use that. And that's not what we're trying to fix anyway. The next one is heat wrap. Now, heat wrap is cheap and easy, but this is a showpiece engine bay. So I don't want heat wrap in the engine bay. It just doesn't look that good, let's face it. Another one is this, the gold reflective tape. Now, this isn't gonna look good in this engine bay, right? Like, it's black and red and gray. This gold is gonna stand out. This is race car stuff. Now, we can use this in some areas that are hidden, but we'll come back to that. So the one thing we are gonna do is look at creating some heat shields. Now, Tycon have released this flexible heat shield material. Easy to work with, easy to cut, you can drill, whatever you gotta do. And if you combine it with this, which is their insulation, like basically muffler insulation, you can put this between two layers of this to create a really good heat shield, or you can just use this on its own. Now, the thing about heat shields you have to remember is the way that they work best is there has to be a layer of air. If you attach this straight to the body or straight to where you want to protect, if the heat shield gets hot, then it just transfers the heat directly to the thing you're trying to protect. So the key to heat shields is they're meant to have an air gap. So if you create a heat shield over a turbo, you want an air gap between the heat shield and the turbo. If you want to protect the paint or whatever, etc., you need an air gap. So why does our GTR even have holes in the engine bay to begin with? Well, because we're constantly changing the car, we didn't know what holes we were and we're going to use. The aircon got removed. The bay got painted, and then the car got changed afterwards. So there's some holes there we want to fix up properly. So the plan of attack I've got for filling up those holes is a two-part thing. Firstly, I'm going to cut some of this to use to physically put over the hole and seal up the actual air gap between the engine bay and the interior. That's not going to be enough because all the hot air coming off the exhaust dump pipe and manifold and everything is still going to heat this up, and it could melt through this if it's just this alone. So we're going to use this to seal up the hole. It's stick-on, so it's really easy. Then we're going to create a template out of cardboard to cover those holes, and then basically cut it out, put holes in it, get some little spaces to leave an air gap between the heat shield and the firewall, and then use that to protect the interior, both from heat transfer to the firewall and also for getting air through those holes into the cabin. So it'll make the cabin a nicer place to be. We're then going to use heat wrap to wrap the exhaust under the passenger side, just quite simply because the floor gets hot. And we're going to use another layer of this to put in the passenger footwell to help stop transfer of heat into the floor mats and the carpet. So we're just trying to make the interior a more comfortable place to be, and this is how we're going to do it. Once you have a GTR that makes over 1,000 horsepower, well, probably any car for that matter that makes over 1,000, you need a drag radial tyre to make the most of the car's performance on either the street or the track, roll racing or drag racing. Now, our car definitely needs a drag radial to get all of its potential out of it. Now, it's time to replace our old drag radials because, well, they're old. Old tyres go hard, require a bigger burnout to work, etc. So they're time for them to get replaced, ready to go racing across the world. Now, we like using a drag radial that is able to work cold, work on a non-prepped surface, and has some tread in it to disperse water just in case you get caught driving in the rain, and also doesn't fall apart if you try and go around a corner. The leading tyre that meets that criteria for a very long time has been the Mickey Thompson ET Street SS, and thanks to Rocket Industries, we picked up a fresh set ready to go onto our R32 GTR. Now, comparing the ET Street SS to our previous ET Street Rs, you can see that the Street R focuses on maximum contact patch and performance with just small grooves cut into it, while the SS has a directional and water dispersing tread. ET Street Rs may have better overall performance, but they do require a fully prepped track and a decent burnout to be able to do that. Our experience is the SS is better on a no-prep surface and in situations where you may not get to warm the tyre up as much, like in roll racing events. Next, we needed to get them fitted, so we called Benny the Tyre Guy from Contact Patch Solutions.
Well, normally it's all Yokohamas, or the majority thereof, but today I made an exception for Mr. Hawkins because he needed some new ETs fitted, which were supplied by Rocket Mickey Thompson. So we fitted them all up in the regular way. With a drag radial, it's actually a little bit more sensitive, as with a race tyre, because they're so much grippier, so are the beads. So everything needs a little bit of extra lubrication and just a little bit more care so nothing gets ripped on fitting. It's a common thing that you find sometimes because people just don't pay attention. So just a little bit of extra care makes all the difference, and of course we've got to make sure the JETRH9 has all the grip in the world.
We're at Motor Mall Raceway in Perth, Western Australia for Outpace Motor Show. It's the test and media day, the Friday, and they said I can go out on track, give the car a shakedown. So I've used that as a chance to basically do a systems check, but typical me, I got a little bit carried away and wanted to have a little bit of fun as well. So we had a few things to test out. Firstly, the Yokohama R32 GTRs. Can they take us around a circuit? Yes. Do they work on the street? Well, we drove it yesterday. Yes. Did they hook up in a straight line? Actually, I was super impressed with 35-pound full power tune in it. I was able to hit it in first gear, hook up, and do a roll racing pass on the Yokohamas. That was after they were warm though, so when they're cold, they do spin a little bit. But on a warm Yokohama, I was able to roll race the car on the full 1150 horsepower. So the Yokohama R32 get the full tick as the ultimate street tyre for this car. Clutch, fantastic. Back to driving like a normal road GTR again, but can obviously hold the power as you can see. So the direct clutch services twin plate 9-inch, tick, perfect. What about all the heat management we did in the car? Well, the windows were up on track, and I will say this, it's the most comfortable the interior's ever been. Some street driving yesterday said it did work. So all of the heat shielding from Taycan gets a tick. How's the Haltech dash? I'm loving it, the UC10. More information, big display, and the custom stuff that we got done on it is absolutely awesome to look at. The last thing left to test on this car is the Mickey Thompson ET Street SSs. So we're gonna get them on, get out on track, and see how well they hook up. Let's go.
Raise the roof for Andrew Hawkins from Motive DVD and the GTR!